So without further ado, we're a little bit out of schedule. Actually, we're right on schedule, guys. I would like to invite Mr. Sean Schoenberg from Gus, John Deere. John Deere Gus, right? So the presentation is titled Gus Automation, Leading the World in Ag Autonomy. Gus Automation is a California-based company specializing in autonomous orchard and vineyard sprayers. Gus was developed to address inefficiencies and labor challenges in orchard and spraying. Please welcome Sean.
So lesson learned on my part is music. We're thinking Eye of the Tiger would work if I come up. So Top Gun was pretty good, but I'll do Eye of the Tiger next time. Pleasure to be here. Sean Sundberg with John Deere Company. And I do want to say thank you for going through the network that we have to get us here to have an opportunity to talk a little bit about Gus Automation and what they do. It's a focus area that John Deere Company has right now, definitely on the high value crops, whether it's tree nuts, whether it's bedded crops, fresh veg, produce, and wine grapes. We're committed and working to unlock a significant amount of value throughout the industry for the growers so that their bottom lines can grow and they can sustainably stay in business doing what they do for generations after generations. You know, oftentimes I get asked, you know, really, where's John Deere going? Where are we headed? And when I talk to younger generations, sometimes they say, well, it's a hat company that happens to make tractors, right? Isn't that what John Deere is? No. We actually are a technology company. We happen to make some hats that go along with it. But we are transitioning to where we think, and most people think, hey, you're focused in the Midwest on corn and beans, large broadacre, et cetera, cotton, sugar, wheat. We really are taking the technology that's been developed there and we're bringing it to this space. And we're working to integrate, extend, and make the businesses better that we can partner with. And we came across this company called Gus back in 2022 and fell in love with it immediately. The work that they're doing, the founders of the business, the employees of the business, the way they do business really aligned well with what we wanted to do in this space. And we said, let's partner. And we partnered back in April of 22. I was asked to move from Texas out to California to lead the integration of the business into Deere. And we just executed the full acquisition of the company back in August. So we've grown it. We're working to scale it. We're trying to keep John Deere red tape and minutia out of it so that they can be fast and still be a startup organization bringing their solutions to market. And that's what we ultimately are working to do. So we do have machines that are running in the Southeast U.S. and in the pecan space and doing autonomous air blast spraying here. So we'll talk a little bit more about the company and what the solutions are that we are driving forward to unlock here. It all started back in 1982 with Crinklaw Farm Services. Dave Crinklaw is the owner of the business back then and one of the largest air blast spraying companies in California. And if you've not been to Central Valley, California, it's an amazing place. You know, I came from land of cotton, land of wheat and corn. I thought I knew what I knew. Going out to California, I didn't know really well what it took to raise and produce almonds, pistachios, walnuts, pecans, etc. It takes a lot of work, a lot of spraying, a lot of manpower to get that done. And Crinklaw Farm Services did it very well as an ag service provider, covering 5,000 some odd acres a day, sometimes across the state, taking care of the needs that the growers had. And if you know that business, that's a lot of equipment. It takes a lot of equipment, takes a lot of tractor drivers, a lot of operators, a lot of people in order to do all of that. And they started to really have a tough time finding people and finding enough people to do the work. And the work in California, because it does get so hot in the San Joaquin Valley, it's done at night. So trying to find people that want to drive a tractor at 2 miles an hour all night long, spraying material, going through an orchard, it's very dull work, right? It's not something that you aspire to do, and it became really challenging. So Dave has a saying, he always says, it can't be that hard, right? We can't be that hard. We're going to innovate. And I'll share a little bit about the company and some of their innovation, and then we'll go into Gus. But just think a little bit about some of the innovation over the time, whether it's from 1980s, 90s, 2000s, what these guys did. Self-capitalized, right? Making the innovations to do 3-row spraying, trying to do vision guidance to trim cordon on vines, back before the technology even really existed to do some of this. And then they said, you know what, we're having such a hard time finding enough tractor drivers to do this business. We're going to have to innovate and find a way to do it differently than what we do today. Or we're going to have to get out of this business entirely. And they decided, at dinner, they decided, we're going to go draw this thing out and see what it can look like. Because these are the types of problems that exist, right? So you get an irrigation line that splits and becomes mud, tractor gets stuck. They bring out a truck to try to pull it out, splits the tractor in half. I mean, it's just a mess, right? Human error is real, right? Whether you grab a different gear, you go the wrong speed, you spray the wrong rate, you put the wrong material on, you don't stop spraying when you get near a house or something like that, right? There's all kinds of things that can happen. And they said, we have got to find a way to take human error out of this equation. So out of that, Gus was born. Back in 2014, this design, they went out and drew the design on the shop floor, right? Drew the design on the shop floor and said, this is what it's going to look like. So this was definitely before Elon Musk's Cybertruck. Now Elon he took our design for that. He actually did reach out and said, we got a pretty cool design. He had his one of the publishers of a couple of books that he is on checked out into Gus, so that is a nice compliment to get. But stainless steel for a reason, right? You're going super slow. It needs to be able to withstand a lot of heavy-duty branches and whatnot coming after it, just trying to tear apart the machine. It's got to be resistant to corrosion, et cetera. It's got to be able to lift the branches up and over the machine. It's got to be very durable. It's got to be very safe. So that's what they designed right there. And the machines today in operation look very, very similar to that. We have 3 machines, 3 machine forms. You have a big one that's meant for the tree nut business, so the pistachios, the almonds, the stone fruit, even some citrus in California that are spraying with the Orchard Gus. You have the Mini Gus, which is just a shrunk down version of the big one, about 70% of the footprint, meant more for the vineyard application, smaller row spacing, tighter row spacing with some majority of citrus would be in this. They're both powered by John Deere engines now, so 173 horsepower. And when you think about the air blast spraying, what do you have to do? You have to displace air, get the chemical into that space, decoat the leaves, create the turbulence, decoat both the leaves so that you get the efficacy and you can control the disease or the infection that you have that you're trying to fight. So you got to have 100 horsepower just to turn the fan and to move that air, right? And you got to get that air and you got to get that material up 12 meters sometimes. So you got to have a lot of power. And then you also need to move the machine. It is 4-wheel drive, it's 4-wheel steer, et cetera. So a lot of horsepower. Mini Gus and Orchard Gus have both the same. Herbicide Gus, we took a look at it and said, hey, we do 8 to 10 passes a year with the application, material application in almonds, a little fewer in pistachios and pecans. But you have this herbicide application that you need to do. And if you can spot spray the weeds and control that with the herbicide, you can save upwards of 80% of the chemical. You can have a 600-gallon tank spraying the herbicide that you set it in the field, you lay a route in, you tell it to go do the job, and away it goes. I don't have to touch that thing all day. So that's the beauty of that application, is that you're not broadcasting a spray. You're doing it in a very precise manner with precision ag application, saving money and cost while getting the efficacy, which is extremely important. So those are the 3 machines. We have a significant number out, and I'll share this in a minute, of the machines that are out in field today. Value proposition, when I always try to look at it from, if I'm a grower and I have pecan in this area, whether it's pecans or peaches or whatnot, what's really the battle that I'm fighting? Is it the labor aspect? Is it the needing the precision aspect of the application? Is it safety, efficiency? Where's my return on that investment, et cetera, right? So the beauty of Gus is it does the exact same way every single time, without a doubt, right? I'm not going to grab a different gear, not going to go faster, I'm not going to spray less, I'm not going to spray the wrong thing. It is going to do exactly what I tell it to do every single time. It is not going to get COVID, it's not going to call in sick, it's not going to call his girlfriend at night, not going to take a 40-minute smoke break, all of that stuff, right? Gus will work when you want it to work, the way that you want it to work, up to 24 hours a day. So the question is, how much can you spray with it? You could spray, 50 acres in a 10-hour shift, but if you wanted to, you could keep going for another 10 hours, right? Because as long as you have somebody supervising the machine, it sprays fully autonomously, does that work, and you have one person out there looking after the machine. You have one person making sure that it's filled. So when you look at the scale of what Gus can do, on the left-hand side, traditional spray system out in California, you got 12 tractors, 12 air blast sprayers. You have a lot of people that are involved in this operation, right? 12 tractor drivers, a couple people filling the machines, you got a spray supervisor, et cetera. If you look at what Gus can do, I can do that with 8. Right? So I take that down by a third with the machines. I reduce the people significantly. And it's not really like taking people off the farm and out of jobs, it's repositioning them to better jobs. And when you look at what typically happens is that I'll have a gal that's running the machines, supervising the machines. They'll get a boost in pay of upward of $4 to $5 an hour because now I'm doing a different job. I'm not just driving the tractor, I'm supervising the equipment and the machines. You have 2 truck drivers that are filling the machines, keeping them running. And the visual I'll give you is that when I first went out there, saw the machines, it's pretty impressive. It's a machine that's 20 plus feet long, taller than I am, going down these rows, doing it at night, and I'm sitting there waiting, and all of a sudden I hear this thing, I hear the noise of the engine, I hear the fan blasting the spray. All of a sudden it comes out, makes a turn all by itself, stops. 30 seconds more, another one comes out and stops. 30 seconds more, and another one comes out and stops. And then the truck comes up, 3 minutes to fill it, 3 minutes to fill it, 3 minutes to fill it. So when you think about productivity and efficiency, all of a sudden I have 95% of my shift is spent productively spraying. 45 minutes on, 3 minutes off. 45 minutes on, 3 minutes off. So you think about that versus human way of doing it, where I spray for 45 minutes, have to drive to a wellhead, spend time breaks, et cetera, taking another 45 minutes off. 50% goes up to about 95% efficient if you're really managing it. So then you can look at this from the application step itself. We're all concerned about environmental sustainability. If we can reduce the water needs, if we can reduce the material that we're needing to spray, that's one of my largest operational line items, right? So if I can reduce that by a third, if I can look at repositioning the labor force, if I can reduce that out, even better. And documentation, right? Precision agriculture through John Deere Operations Center. You can see your field, you can see what you've done, you can see what you've sprayed, you can see when you sprayed. So you have all of that documented. So when you look at real autonomy, doing the job the way you want to do it every single time, it's a real solution. It's commercially available today. You have 260 plus machines that are out there, mainly in the West Coast, Pacific Northwest. Like I said, some in Florida and some here in Georgia spraying pecans. We have them in Hawaii, we have them in Australia, we have them in Spain and Brazil. So John Deere is working to scale this business, meeting the growers' needs that they have throughout the industry. 2.8 million acres have been sprayed by Gus. So getting close to the 3 million acre mark. So again, it's very, very real, over 600,000 hours of runtime with these machines. So I think one of the things that they may have done is built them too good, because we have machines out there at 12 to 13,000 hours and they look brand new, right? They don't eat parts, they just work and spray. And it's fantastic to watch them do the job that they're designed to do. It's the epitome of an American success story, and it's a proud part of the John Deere family now. And I will say this, as we look to bring more of these machines to the southeast, if you all have people that you know, or if you're growers that have peaches, pecans, we think are the two best opportunities right now, we can definitely talk. Feel free to reach out. Gus has a great website, gusag.com. Feel free to check them out and contact us, and we're all about doing demonstrations and showcasing what the machine can do. So I think I'm good. All right. Fantastic. Thank you for the time. It's my first time at this show. I can't wait to see what it's all about tomorrow. If you have any questions, I'll take them. Yes, sir.
Great talk, by the way.
Thank you.
In the slide comparing the traditional number of people and equipment to the Gus, I saw that there was a supervisor laptop in the truck.
Sure.
I'm curious if you have more information as to what that workstation looks like and where that's headed.
Yep, absolutely. So the machine was designed and the interface is designed so a good tractor operator can run the machine. You do not need to go hire rocket scientists or PhDs to do it. It's somebody that knows the spray job that can go and do the spray job. You have a receiver on top of the pickup truck. You have your laptop that connects to that communicates to the machine. So the interface is where everything happens, right? So there's no controls on the machine at all. It is all off of that laptop, driven by GPS. Now it operates definitely in a GPS denied environment, but the machine knows where it's at with the wheel telemetry and the maps and the routes that you load into it. So it's a very user friendly interface off of the laptop.
I
Yes,
had a
ma'am.
question. You said that, I think you said you had some machines in Florida, but do you have any in use in Georgia?
We do. We do have a few that are spraying pecans in the state of Georgia
Okay.
right now. Yep.
You willing to tell us where?
I have not been on that site or with the customers, but it's with the King Ranch group, and I forget the name of their entity over here that's running them, but it's with them. They're one of the customers, one of our first customers.
Thank you. I really appreciate
giving me
your
the
talk,
boot?
Sean.
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
awesome. But feel free to grab me afterwards and talk. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's give him a round of applause. Okay. So our next speaker is Mr. Marcel Bielen from Finefield. His presentation is titled Finefield from Manual to Machine, Realizing the Benefits of Blueberries Harvest Innovation. So Finefield is an ag tech company focused on autonomy, fresh market, and I have two microphones, I don't know why. Fresh market blueberry harvesting with quality equal to hand picking. They're fully electric solar powered harvesting machines gently detach berries, transport them hygienically, and minimize ground loss. Requiring just one operator, they harvest an average of 1,500 pounds an hour, reducing labor while preserving fruit quality and sustainability. Thank you, Marcel. He traveled long ways to be here. So please join me in welcoming Marcel to the floor.
Yes, thank you, Luan, for this great introduction. Thank you for being here in this session. First of all, my name is Marcel Bielen, as already mentioned. I'm CEO of Finefield, and Finefield is let me put on the right slides. The next 15 minutes, I'm going to introduce you to Finefield, and I'm going to specifically introduce you to the Harvey 500, which is our development for replacing hand pickers with machinery. Finefield is a company located in the southeast of the Netherlands, so in Europe. It's in the Netherlands a hotspot for blueberries. It's also a hotspot for technology, so that made a great, let's say, place for creating such a development. We were founded back in 2018, and one of the founders, actually the initiator, was a blueberry grower. They had the need to improve their productivity. The cost of labor was rising, margins were shrinking, so they had to find a solution. And yeah, we took this challenge. And we fully focused on blueberries. I think that's important to mention. When we took this challenge, we looked at the market. And what we saw that over the last 10 years, I think the market doubled. So the demand in blueberries doubled. And if you look to the future, the expectation is that the market will again double for the next 5 to 10 years. So that puts enormous pressure on labor. And harvesting blueberries is very labor intensive. And at the same time, there is an increasing shortage in labor supply. We have an aging workforce. That's not only in the US, that's in Europe, that's in Africa even. So we have to find a solution for labor-intensive work. And next to that, we saw that there is a global focus on environmental health. So something we can't deny, something that customers demand, and we have to address. And looking, at the future and the vision we have on harvesting is that it will definitely be mechanized. And it will be rather sooner than later, or robotized even. It will be data-driven. We already saw a couple of presentations today. It's all about data. So you're not only harvesting blueberries, you will harvest data in addition. And this data you will use to improve future yields and and you will use it to improve the supply chain of blueberries. And next to that, the third point I already mentioned, it needs to be sustainable. And that's why we developed an electrical harvester. And we called it a Harvey 500, robotic harvester. And it has some, I think, unique characteristics. It delivers fresh market quality berries. It minimizes waste, up to 3 to 7%. It replaces up to 100 pickers. It's electrically powered, already mentioned. It's solar charged, and it's internet connected. And let's deep dive a little bit in these characteristics. So, fresh market quality. What's important is catching the berry. And for that, we developed a new catching system based upon brushes and based upon so-called catch sheets. It's patented. Next to that, we developed a new shaker head. Because of the electricity, electronic components, we are able to control the frequency of shaking very well, which enables us to adapt to the specific circumstances of blueberries, I would say different varieties. And what's important when harvesting is reducing the drops. So we have only 2 drops in the machine. 2 moments that can affect the quality of the berry. And we for reducing, let's say, the drop or the dampening of the fall, we used a principle, and this explains a little bit the principle that we used. On the left-hand side, you see berries drop on a hard surface. They bump a lot, meaning that all the energy, the kinetic energy, is absorbed in the berry, which ends up in bruising. And on the right-hand side, you see the use of a catch sheet. So there's a sheet with air underneath. Berries are dropping basically dead, meaning that all the energy is absorbed by the sheet and eventually ends up in less bruising. And for proving this, obviously customers give us feedback, but it's better to have independent research on this. And the Washington State University did some research or measurements on harvesters with catcher plates, our machine, and hand-harvested fruit. And they reported some, I think, interesting points. First one was that they said fruit harvested by catcher plate machines showed twice the internal bruising damage levels compared to the Harvey 500 and compared to hand pick. Then in comparing the Harvey 500 with handpick alone, there was no difference in internal bruising or in firmness throughout the cold storage period. That was for the variety Calypso. Looking at top shelf, handpick was still better. So varieties play an important role when you plan for mechanical harvest in the future. And the last point is on I would say, some traditional varieties like Blue Ribbon and Duke. Also there you can see that the catching system that we developed is significantly better than using catcher plates. This one, and you can't read it, is a survey, or let's say some quality measurements done by the biggest retailer in the Netherlands. And what they did a series of tests, assessments, where they tested hand-picked fruit against machine-picked fruit. And they looked specifically for food firmness and the percentage of softs during these tests. And for both characteristics, over the series of tests, the machine performed better than hand-picked, which I think is pretty remarkable. But in the end, I think also good results. So that was the I would say, the no bruising part of our developments. Then the second, let's say, point that we definitely looked into was the minimal loss of product. Catcher plates typically lose a lot of fruit during harvest. And that can be up to 20% more compared to the system that we use. And 20%, let's say, on the harvesting season can end up in a lot of, let's say, yield and, in addition, money. And ground loss with catcher plates looks a little bit like this. And that's due to the fact that the presentation is now going for itself. It's going faster than I do. What I wanted to explain is catcher plate leave a big hole in the middle, and I leave the presentation running now. This hole ends up in a lot of losses. We developed a brush system for it, and as you can see in this little movie, these brushes sticking from the side into the bush, they seal the plant from underneath. The harvester runs over it, shaker heads, shake off the berries, and they are catch in the machine. And the machine handles the berries, puts them into crates, and stacks them into a buffer on the side of the machine. And anyway, so no bruising, no losing, the first 2 points. Then the third point is the fully electrical solar charged machine. We chose for electric because it's environmental friendly, but an electric motor is also very efficient. We only use 4 kilowatts to harvest about 2,000 pounds an hour. And typically, let's say, combustion engine machine uses about 60 kilowatts. There's no use of hazardous liquids, so we don't have any hydraulic fluids. There's less maintenance. An electromotor has only 2 moving parts, whereas a combustion engine has many. It's convenient. There's no noise. So for an operator, it's convenient to run the machine. And it should end up in lower total cost of ownership. The machine drives autonomously, which means that it has sensors, mechanical sensors that sense the bush. Next to that, it has GPS. And by mixing this with software, it can determine the middle of the row. And so it always drives exactly over the middle of the row. As already mentioned, it fills the crates automatically to the set weight. There's a blower for cleaning, obviously, the berries from leaves and twigs. It stacks the crates and puts them in a buffer on the side of the machine. The machine can drive both ways and has only one operator. Basically, the operator only needs to control speed, aggressiveness of shaking, height of the machine, and aggressiveness of the blower. It's internet connected, so that enables us to service the machine remotely. We can update software remotely. But more important, we have 400 parameters that we can read from a distance. So if the operator has a problem with the machine, we immediately can see what's going on. And if the operator calls us, 9 out of 10 times we can help him on the spot. And this is very important because downtime should be kept to the minimum, especially in harvesting season. But it also gives us the possibility to do predictive maintenance. When a certain component fails after a certain amount of running hours, then you can inform other growers that it can happen and to advise them to replace these parts before the season. We have a customer portal. This portal provides harvesting information on yields, on settings of the machine, but also we have a heat map of fields, so you can see which part of the field, for example, has higher yield than other parts. And this can give you some clues for investigating on improving yields for next year. And next to that, we have a potential for many more added value services based upon using data. So data is definitely something that we will use in farming for the coming years. Yeah, that's what this is all about. Then some performance metrics, and this is based upon high chill. I know Georgia is mostly mid-chill, low chill. But an average yield of 1,500 pounds an hour is common. Yields can go up to 2,500 pounds an hour. Typically, per growing season, that means you have early, mid, and late varieties. You can do up to 400,000 pounds. On average, I would say 2.5 to 3 acres a day. You can do more, but we learned that speed is at the cost of quality. So you have to figure out what's the best speed for you. But you can do up to, I would say, 5 acres a day on a 10-hour working day. We always advise growers to plan for, let's say, these 10, 12 hours. You can work at night to increase capacity, but you also have to take into account that weather can work against you, or you can have a failure of the machine, of course, because it's machinery. And in the end, you replace up to 100 pickers, which makes a very good business case. So I try to explain a little bit on the characteristics. I think the two most important ones are the no bruising, no losing parts, so the quality and reducing losses. And I have a short video now that gives you an overview of the machine, and that basically ticks these boxes. Afterwards, I can answer some questions. Here you have the first drop moment in the machine. Two conveyor belt is the machine where it's dropping on. This is the second drop moment. Guys drop on a sheet again. Lower, and they roll into the tray. customers work at night, especially when they're in very warm areas. You can run the machine all day on solar. So you don't have to plug it in, you can just leave it in the field. So, questions?
How many people typically does it take to harvest 1 acre in a day in blueberries?
1 acre in a day. Typically, and I'm a European, so I calculate 2.5 acres. That is typically about. No, let me put it otherwise. Harvesting in 1 hour, a picker does typically about 25 pounds on average. So the machine does, let's say, 1,500 pounds on average. So that's the difference. And obviously, that depends on running. That depends on variety, circumstances, etc. Experienced pickers or not. So, yeah. But in the end, you on average replace between 50 and 100 pickers.
And then one question, just as an outsider, is that when I eat blueberries, there's like different ripenesses, and I wonder, was the timing of harvest or the parameters of how you shake the plant going to somehow influence like the ripeness level and uniformity of ripeness?
Overall, when a berry is ripe, it comes off easily. So that's the moment that you have to pick. If you use a machine, typically you wait longer for going in. If you go pick by hand, you go early, try to get everything off what's ripe. But using a machine, you wait a little bit longer, you accept a little more softs, because if you keep the berries longer on the bush, they get soft. But afterwards, the berries get sorted. And
Thank you, Marcel. I actually have a question. Here in Georgia, we have 2 different types of berries. We have the Southern High Bush and we have the Rabbit Eye. I know you have a machine. You have 1 or more machines here. I know one of the growers that owns one of your machines, Sam Baker.
yep, we have several machines in
Sam
Georgia.
Gray, yeah.
Yeah. And overall, they perform very well.
Okay.
It seems that mid-chill varieties perform very well on the machine. I know Pine Bloom Farm, Sam Gray said to me, they have varieties, and I think it's Georgia Dawn that he mentioned. That's pretty difficult to pick. It's a soft variety, and they had circumstances where they could use the machine and couldn't use people to pick their varieties. So that shows a little on how gentle it is on the berry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Please give Marcel a round of applause, guys. Thank you so much, Marcel. That's a long ways from Europe. Thank you. Thanks for making the trip.
You're welcome.
So our next speaker is Mr. Curtis Garner from Verdant Robotics. He's going to talk about the Sharpshooter, the smart sprayer. So Verdant Robotics develops, let me put his slide first. Okay, it's right there. So Verdant Robotics develops proprietary AI-powered, again, I'm holding that microphone. AI-powered robotics that automate weeding, thinning, and ultra-precise application of crop protection inputs in specialty crops. Their flagship system, the Sharpshooter, is the only platform that uses aim and apply technology, delivering millimeter accurate control that helps reduce crop protection inputs and labor costs, and may enhance marketable crop yield and quality. Designed to integrate with existing farm work flows, Sharpshooter operates day or night and adapts to diverse crops and conditions. Please join me in welcoming Curtis Garner.
Yeah, thank you guys. Great to be here. It's been a lot of fun for me to get to travel the United States and really learn different production systems. So first time in Georgia, but spent the last 2-3 months in Florida and South Carolina. So getting to learn the East Coast systems and how they differ from the rest of the country. Verdant Robotics, it's a computer vision sprayer, but it's not like a sprayer you've ever seen before. So what we do that's different than any other company is we actually aim an aimable turret and we put out a slug of fluid. So you can think about, we put molecules on target exactly where they need to go in a three-dimensional system. It was very serendipitous that we ultimately ended up with this design. We started the company early on, much like older Blue River sprayers or some of the other competitors in the market where it's a dot matrix, kind of a fan nozzle system. We're always straight stream, but you can think about offset nozzles in addressing a line. We got the start in the company in apples, cherries, and pears, so spraying in orchards, so doing crop load management, actually thinning, so spraying sideways. And a very large carrot grower grabbed us by the nose and said, hey, your sprayer looks pretty cool. Do you think you could weed in carrots, in organic carrots specifically? We said, yeah, our spray size is a little bit too big right now for your plant density, but we can work on getting that down and getting it to address your system. And it was pretty cool to have the aimable system in flat ground crop because now the system was broadly applicable to all different cropping systems. So the plant architecture, whether it was on raised bed, flat ground, whether it was a tomato that was, a 1-foot bush, whether it was 100 carrots per bed foot, the system and the technology could address it. So we say the future isn't spraying, it's aiming and applying. We got a pretty good team. Everybody's from space, military, and self-driving car world. Everybody's done autonomous cars on the team, and we have a motto in the company about autonomy last. And so we really focus on the autonomous sharpshooter that's being dragged through the field by a tractor, so making it a smart implement in helping to augment the 150 people that are on their hands and knees hand weeding in fields. And we'll turn on autonomy later on when it starts to matter. I'm one of the co-founders. Gabe and I are co-founders. Gabe is the technology. He's the technical lead, so he's very well known in the self-driving car world and did a lot of space and military stuff, landing things on other planetary bodies. You guys don't really need to have any background about why this matters to you guys, right? You guys are all the ones feeling the pain, right? So labor's getting harder and harder to find. The younger generation isn't as hard working as the older generation tends to be. And so we really do need automation to come in and really help with rising cost and keeping our produce on this side of the border versus pushing produce to other areas of the world where they have lower cost of production. It's been a ton of fun to be a part of this. We have machines in 11 different states currently, as well as Canada and Mexico. We started selling the machines 2 years ago, so we sold 5 at the end of 24. We sold 20 this past year, and we're on track to sell 100 this year. So we say this isn't what the future looks like. It looks like this. So this is the sharpshooter, so the white implement on the back. You can see there's 2 computer cameras, so stereo vision, RGB cameras. They're using machine learning to detect weeds and detect crop. And then the 4 aimable spray heads are putting fluid out independently of each other. On this is a 20-foot machine, so it was originally made for 6 40-inch rows, but the boxes are on rails, so you could slide around for different spacing, whether you're 68 or 72 or 80, 88, it can handle it all. You could also raise it to 34 inches above the crop and have full swath of coverage. There's a little bit of flexibility on the size of the machine, so if we can go a little bit in from 20 feet or a little bit over 20 feet, so a 24-foot system, but that might require populating 2 more boxes into the machine. So it's up to 99% less material out on the field. So it's 68 to 99% less material depending upon what molecules you want to put out and the weed density out there. Typical application for a broadcast sprayer would be, say, 20, 30 gallons per acre. We're typically applying from 0.9 to 1.5 gallons per acre of material on the ground. We found in our experience about only 4% of your fields are covered in weeds. My opinion has changed on that now that I've been in Florida. So Florida's weed pressure is insane. Like our worst fields in California, Arizona, or the Pacific Northwest, that's like an everyday occurrence kind of out here. So the different climate and how wet it is out here, it has continuous flushes. I think I'm starting to need glasses. I mean, it's hard for me to read anymore. We priced the machine to have, yeah, exactly, Sean, thank you. We priced the machine to have about an 18-month ROI for typical growers. It really depends upon your crop mix, your crop economics, and whether you have conventional only or if you have some conventional organics. We have some organic customers that are getting payback on the machine in a handful of months. And then we have other growers doing, say, grass seed to where they're pushing more towards the 18 and 24. So it really depends on your cost structure and your commodities and what you're doing. Yeah, it said 11 states and plus 2 other countries other than the United States. Some of the fun things about our machine is we have the ability to really, or the grower has the ability, there's a precision control suite to dial in the machine to the performance that you want. So detect the meristem and say, hey, stay away from the plant or get really close. So you could say how close, how aggressive, how conservative you want to be. You could ban the machine, so you could say, hey, I'd mechanically till in the middles or the shoulders. Don't apply there. That's just wasted material and time. Let's save all the shots for the plant line. So you could set it 1 inch, 5 inch, 7 inch, whatever you would like from that plant line. It can handle multiple plant lines. One of the fun things is we do 3-dimensional modeling of the crop. So with a tall crop, say like an older lettuce plant, we'll drop a digital cone around the plant because sometimes the machine can see a weed, but it doesn't understand it's about to shoot through a leaf to get to that weed. And so dropping a digital cone or like on an onion plant, putting a sleeve, a protective digital sleeve around it will actually proactively force the machine to choose the right incidence angle. So you end up with shots like underneath heads of lettuce or around asparagus or around onions. It's pretty cool to see. It's kind of surprising when you see it for the first time. There's also adaptive spray size. And so in real time, the machine's going to automatically choose how much fluid to put out. So, dime side weed is going to get a dollop of fluid about the size of a dime, your pinky nail. A bigger weed's going to get more fluid. You're going to spray the meristem, and then it's going to hold the valve on. It's actually going to spiral out. So you can have an arbitrarily large and small size. You could override that. You could say, give me all small shots or give me all big shots. You can change the fluid volume from 100% of normal down to 75% of normal or up to 300% of normal. There's different reasons growers do this. If they're trying to treat escape or late weeds, they might want to put a little bit more fluid out. They might want all big shots, or maybe they're using a material that they don't want any off-target movement. And so they'll say, just put like a poison dart strategy where, just small stream, but do 100% of fluid. The machine's controlled wirelessly through an iPad in the tractor. So any 5 Series tractor will work for us. We don't have any horsepower requirement. The machine's 3,000 pounds. So as long as that's fully loaded with material, 2,300 pounds dry. So any tractor can do it. We're color agnostic on that. We're on basically all colors but yellow, I think, at this point in time. It's been a lot of fun to get those. I need you to help me to turn the screws a little bit to Sean so we can get automatic control of forward speed and hitch height through the machine. And that'll be some of the improvements down the road. But there's feedback to the driver on what speed and how high to put the machine at various different conditions. So speed up if there's less weed pressure, slow down if there's a little bit more weed pressure. So you can see the spray box there on the left. It's the cameras, like I said, 4 sprayers, and then the lights. We have customers currently going 24/7. About half our customers tend to go 24/7 on various different crops. Choosing crop models is super easy. We're currently in over 30 different commodities. If we've never been to a region or we've never seen a crop, it takes us 3 days, about 72 hours to get that crop, train a new machine learning model. And you'll be happy but not impressed by the end of that week. So training 3 more days, you'll be impressed. And within 3 weeks, you'll be flabbergasted by the performance. And we have customers that have yet to put in hand labor into their fields. Let's see here. For the pictures, the top right, lettuce, just showing you how close we can get to it. The one next to it, the left, that's organic onions, how close we can get to the onions. The one below that, lettuce, just showing we shoot underneath the leaf. And then conventional onions, where we were treating actually small trees of all things. They're right next to riparian habitat. Talked about these. The 30 different crops. So we could weed, we can thin, and you can apply to the crop. You could, if you have some other technology that already thins, we could weed and get rid of doubles if that technology missed the doubles. We've currently thinned a bunch of different types of lettuces, broccoli, cauliflower, as well as cantaloupes. Another big thing for here to note, we do plasticulture, so we do watermelons down in Southern California, and the grower has a really big nut sedge problem, and so he's using Sandia and having really good results with that. Here you can just see the smallest weed that we can see, about 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters. You can see the weed right there by the thumb. And then the middle picture just showing you the shot, so that's a dime. So that's about the smallest shot we can make, and then each turret can make about like a 3-inch by 3-inch shot as its max size, and they can work in tandem and do things together to get bigger weeds. Yeah, shooting next to crop, under crop, pretty big deal for broccoli, especially if you're in an area that has high wind and you get J-hook and different things. It's been pretty good for us. One of the things is all the technologies have their right operating windows and conditions to put them in. And so a lot of the mechanical solutions can't get within 1 inch of the crop, and even some of the spraying solutions can't get within 1 inch of the crop. We've seen from our data, roughly 1/3 of the weeds that are going to be present in the field are going to be, their foliage is going to be touching or overlapping the commercial commodity, so they're going to be within that 1 inch window, and those are the weeds that we're really good at getting and really saving the money for the growers. This was actually organic, so the organic material that we have labeled here in the States is really good. So this was about 16-inch Malva. We've done purslane about that large too with that organic material, and worked extremely well. So Suppress and Home Plate have really been a godsend for us in organics. The speed of the machine, 5 acres per hour, and that's going to double in this year. And so we're going to be up to about 10 acres per hour. Growers go day and night, anywhere from 35 to 60 acres per shift is kind of what the guys are getting. We've been able to neutralize weeds with fertilizer alone. This is in very hot areas like the Central Valley, sometimes out there in Salinas, and definitely works in Yuma. I'd be curious to see out here with how the relative moisture and humidity within the ground. Not sure that it'd work extremely well here, but there's probably ways that we can play with the materials and get something like that to be efficacious. You can see the picture on the right. We could have multiple leaf, so different colors, different commodities, all planted on the same bed, and we can recognize them all and avoid them, not hurt them. So we don't really care what's on top of the bed top. The machine also doesn't care about your germ, your stand, how regular the lines are, any of that stuff. It's agnostic to all that. It does detect the crops and the weeds individually. So we'll play a couple more videos. So here's the fun one. Here's what I was trying to get to. So slow-mo video. So you could actually see it spray and then kind of spiral out, and you'll see it kind of wiggle around. The flashing, the cameras and the flash on the machine is all synchronized and regular. This was taken with an iPhone with the rolling shutter camera that the lights and the iPhone were not synchronized, so you're going to see it. The lights help us to make machine learning a little bit easier, but also to go day and night. Yeah, and feel free to ask any questions at any time. It's much funner for me if we can have an interactive conversation versus me just talking. Kind of how we stack up against some of the other stuff. So like the lasers are really great machines, and they go a little bit earlier, so 7 to 10 days past wet date. They're going to limit out on the size of weed that they can hit and kill. The mechanical weeders, you're going to save those for a little bit later, say 24 or 32 days past, wet date. They're going to break up the soil, create new germination conditions for other weeds. And us being a non-contact, we don't do that. We could go as early as the lasers go, but we can also go actually after the mechanical weeders as well. And so we have the widest operational window for the growers. We designed the machine to be extremely well in the 21 to say 42 days past wet date. So weeds are about an inch, give or take a half an inch in size. That's optimal for us, what we like, but we can handle much larger weeds. And growers, now that they own it, and especially the conventional guys, are using the machine in ways that we didn't anticipate. So trying to do rescue treatments or trying to treat escapes, they're doing some wild and crazy things with the machine and really pushing us on the technology to keep developing and improving to bring those into the operating window. Yeah, so love to take any other questions. Price of the machine, $350,000 for the weeding service, and then if you would like thinning, it's an additional cost. You could buy a perpetual license for $200,000 or $40,000 a year. There's a service maintenance and technology fee. It's varying levels, like from DIY to white glove service, and that might range from say $30,000 to $75,000 a year. And different things on the crop model. So we just have to talk, learn about your economics and your farm, what commodities you're growing, and figure out what's best for you.
We're about like 1 minute. Does anybody have a question? Shit. The last guy.
You were talking at the end there about different maintenance plans and levels. I'm curious about different chemistries for these tank mixes and stuff, different consistencies. You said your nozzles are really small. I'm just curious about how often you gotta change them out and how hard that is.
Yeah, machine has been made to be modular and easy to fix. So it's about 2 minutes to change a turret, about 5 minutes to change a computer, about 5 minutes to change a light. So you're not going to root cause and diagnose. If a turret's not working, we're just going to swap that out and get you going. And acres per hour and coverage a day, productivity is the name of the game, and all we really care about. The orifice size on the nozzles is actually huge. It's actually much larger than any other like T-Jet fan nozzle or anything like that. So we really don't have any plug-in issues or that. The valves, depending upon the adjuvants and stuff like that, like we wash out the machine, do all that type of stuff, but the valves never plug, and we have an 80 mesh screen and a diaphragm pump.
Have you run Gramoxone through it?
Yeah, we've run Gramoxone, Goal, Goaltender, Buctril, Arrow, Vasogram, Sandia, glufosinate, glyphosate, Axe, Home Plate, Suppress, a bunch of different adjuvants. Cadet, I'm probably missing a couple. It's starting to get hard with all the different states and all the different names to know exactly. Lineron, Lorox for carrots.
You know where I'm coming, right?
Yep.
So guys, thanks for the talk, Curtis. Right now I have to move to the next speaker to stay on time. Please join me in giving Curtis a round of applause. So our next and final speaker is Justin Lenz from Carbon Robotics. Alrighty, so Justin is going to talk about the Carbon Robotics Smart Laser Weeding. Carbon Robotics is an ag tech company revolutionizing weed control with laser weeder G2. Using AI, computer vision, and lasers, it detects and eliminates weeds without herbicides or disturbing the soil. This technology supports lower labor costs and organic and regenerative farming. The floor is yours, Justin.
Thank you, sir. How are we doing? My name is Justin. I manage the sales on Eastern North America.
And yeah, we're going to talk about two things today: AI laser weeding and a new thing that we'll be launching this fall, and that's some autonomous tractor kit. I'll try and keep this quick. I think I'm the last session today, so we'll get done and we can all go enjoy River Street. So currently, a lot of people still are calling us a startup. I think we're kind of past that now. We currently have over 175 laser weeders in 15 countries. We have raised quite a bit of money for this machine. One of the biggest things and most exciting things is one of our largest investors is actually NVIDIA. So it's really nice to have them on the board alongside with us. So this is our new G2 laser weeder. This is a 12 module unit. This is a 20-foot system, very similar to our Generation 1 machine. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. Biggest differences is this machine is about 25% lighter. So this machine right here weighs around 7,200 pounds, and it's about twice as fast. So we're seeing on average anywhere from 1.5 acres to 3 acres an hour. We do have a lighting system, strobing 4 times brighter than the sun. So it is, most of our customers are running anywhere from 20 to 24 hours a day, 6-7 days a week. Challenges with weed control, you know, there's a lot of options out there, hand labor, herbicides, and mechanical, but we really wanted to try and come up with a solution that is no soil disruption, no hand labor, and no chemical, and that's where the laser was born. Extremely precise. We're sub-millimeter accuracy. So we're not only shooting the weed, we're actually identifying the meristem, and that's what we're targeting. Essentially boiling the water inside the meristem and destroying the cell structure from within. If you walk behind the machine, you see the lasers hit the ground, you see smoke come up, but you can actually hear these weeds popping as well. So it does guarantee efficacy. And as you can see in these pictures, we can get right up to your crop and not damage it whatsoever. Another really exciting thing about our Generation 2 is now with these individual modules, we can actually accommodate multiple farm types. So we are now in tunnels, high tunnels in Spain. We do have a 40-foot machine with 16 modules on it for organic corn and soy. And tough soil types like muck, we're able to get into as well. So pretty much anywhere from 3 to 16 modules, depending on your wheel spacing, we can accommodate. So, you know, we're in farms anywhere from 60 acres currently to 30,000. Increased production is something that we're extremely proud of. When we first started selling the laser weeder, there was a lot of theoreticals that we talked about, but now we're working very closely with universities and doing a lot of third-party studies, and we're just finding out some really good information. We knew in onions that yield increase was absolutely an option, especially in conventional, but with some of these third-party studies, this picture, this red onion on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, what we've actually learned is running a laser, we're actually seeing about a 16% increase in single centers and about a 36% increase in firmness. So you're seeing the increase in yield in the field, but it's also benefiting you in your pack house as well. You know, another thing is some of our best sales reps are now actually universities and existing customers. So this isn't just us telling you that this machine is going to benefit you significantly. You know, these are quotes from actual review publications, and this is a very recent quote from Rio Fresh that they were actually harvesting their onions 2 to 3 weeks earlier because the crop never had to compete with the weed because we're killing it at such an early stage. And that's the most crucial stage of a crop's life, is very early on. Some other really cool things are, you know, we've had a lot of customers come to us and say, you know, you're taking all these high definition captures of our field. Is there any way we can get any of that data back? And so because of that, we've introduced a couple new features. We have a companion app, a mobile phone application where you can kind of see in real time what's going on with your machine, what block it's in, how long's it been running today, what's the average speed. But you can actually open up your computer, and we call it the portal, but you can sign into your portal now and get real-time and historical data of every time that machine passed through that block. Stand count, average crop size, average crop density, even your weed sizes and weed densities broken up into multiple categories of weed types. So I think this is really powerful information. We have customers that are pulling this up, and you can pull up a heat map of weeds and see the northwest corner of a block is bright red with broadleaf. So we have customers that are, attacking very specific portions of their farm, or going and taking soil samples and really getting an understanding of why that's a problematic section of that specific field. Another thing I think worth talking about, and it's something we're extremely proud of, is the tech support. I think in anything, you're only strong as your weakest link, and service and support typically becomes a lot of people's weakest link. With Carbon, we actually offer 24/7 remote support because you can run this machine day and night. A lot of people are putting H2A operators in the tractor. They're in that machine. It can be Saturday at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they can see that it maybe is missing some weeds. They can tap the chat button inside the tractor and in Spanish say, hey, I think I'm missing some weeds. Someone's going to sign into their machine remotely and respond back to them in Spanish or whatever language they speak. And I would say 90% of the issues get resolved remotely. But if we cannot resolve it remotely, we've got a very strong team across the country, and we'll get on site and solve the problem immediately. The next thing that I am going to talk about is our newest product. It is the Carbon Autonomous Tractor Kit. I think there's a very big race to autonomy right now. There are a lot of autonomous options. We wanted to develop a kit that did not require you to buy a new piece of equipment in a very expensive tractor. So what this is a bunch of components. We're using computer vision for furrow detection, but we've got 360-degree view inside your tractor. Essentially, you purchase this kit, and then you pay Carbon an hourly rate to remotely operate and supervise your tractor. So it is autonomous. It's autonomous with remote supervision. This is kind of a picture of our office in Richland, Washington, where we have certified tractor operators that are overseeing your tractor at all times. Another really cool thing is that, let's say you have a daytime operator, right, and you say, hey, I'm good 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Carbon can come in and take over the night shift, right, and run 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and you're only paying that hourly rate, which is very comparable to what you're probably already paying your tractor operator. You're just not paying insurance. You're not paying overtime. We can come in and take over whatever hours you need us to run that machine for you. Currently, we're doing laser weeding, and then we're doing ground prep. Harvesting, planting absolutely will come. As you know, there's a lot more controls that need to be done inside the tractor when you're doing those things. So that's where we are right now. We're still in beta. We have quite a few machines out in the field running very successfully right now. And I think fall of this year, we're actually going to hard launch this product. I can share this with anybody, but that is a QR code. If anybody wants to scan it, you can request early access and kind of learn a little bit more about the autonomous tractor kit. Then, we'll end with questions. Oh, geez. I had a video, but it's not playing. Oh, is that playing? You need internet? It's fine. Okay. Any questions?
Does anybody have any questions for Justin? I do have a question.
About the autonomous system. There are some of those systems on the market, And
We're in beta, so yeah, we've got about 6 machines running in North
Okay.
America right now.
how do you guys compare to Sabanto, for example? Are you going to have a fully autonomous system with 3-point hitch control and everything as well? Or that's a
Yes,
different?
yeah. No, I mean, and the laser weeder, you got to lift it up to turn around and end rows, so it is fully autonomous.
Okay.
Just with remote supervision. It's not only remote supervision, but they can take over control at any time. So if there is an obstacle or a pivot in the way, they can absolutely take over control, move around that obstacle, and then turn autonomy back on where it stays in the lanes and does what it needs to do.
Already.
This is pretty well new to us. So, it goes to the mirror stand. So does the computer generate whatever crop that you're using it for, whatever, and does it kill your cash crop?
No, ma'am.
Or do you do this before you plant your cash crop?
No, ma'am. We typically, so we have a camera in the front that we call the Predict camera. So it's doing a few things. It's identifying your crop. It's also identifying your weed type, and the weed size. So it's telling the laser how much dosage it needs to send to eradicate that weed. We typically like to get in 7 to 10 days after planting. We do prefer early entry time because the shorter shoot time that we have to kill that weed, the faster we can go through your field. We're in over 120 crops now, and even if it's a new crop, we do have a new platform that we just launched a couple months ago, and we can be in a new crop type and essentially be weeding same day, honestly, within the hour, controlling it that way. But no, if we're hitting crop, we've got a major issue, and we need to make adjustments immediately.
I've seen carbines and sharpshooters in action and impressed with all of these robots. But one thing that I've noticed is the need for the speed to speed up and slow down. Do you guys already have variable rate speed control? How does it work when you're using auto tractor?
Yeah, absolutely. We have for John Deere currently, and this will be launched for all other tractor types in the very near future. But currently, for any John Deere tractor, we have ASC, adaptive speed control is what we call it. But yeah, it's a kit that you can plug into the tractor, and that actually allows the laser weeder to automatically speed up and slow down. Because that was one of the biggest issues we saw is, if you hit a high density patch of weeds, the machine needs to slow down to make sure it kills all those weeds. And then you get through that patch, it's going to tell the operator, hey, you need to speed up now. And a lot of times, especially the night shift operators, they're not following that speed as well as they should, which is bringing your efficiency down. So we've seen on average about a 30% increase in efficiency running adaptive speed control, allowing the laser weeder to control the speed of the tractor.
Thank you. Please give Justin a round of applause, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justin. With this last presentation, we wrap up our Precision Ag educational session. I would like to thank you, all the speakers, and all of you guys that stayed out of the end. I was trying to keep up with numbers. We got a pretty good number of people joining. So let me see. Let me put the presentation here with a QR code so you guys can. Let me go back to this one. Yep, and that slide. So I'm talking with a lot of these companies that you've seen here today, and most likely some of them are going to be at this show in May in Tifton, Georgia. So if you would like to see all these technologies working live, pre-registered, as I said, farmers are not going to pay to join us, and I would love to pack that conference center with growers so you all can all see these technologies working live, how they work, what they do they fit your operations and everything. So again, hope to see you next year in the same session. We got a really good lineup of companies, and next year we're preparing something really good as well. Thank you. Oh, don't forget your CCU credits and everything there.